What is up, friends? Welcome into the Mercado Podcast. I am Mike Mercado, and it is August 17th, 2016, and I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Before we go on with the show, please, guys, do me a huge favor. Go on Twitter and follow us at mmercado2333. Please subscribe to the page on YouTube at Mike Mercado2333. Also, we're on Instagram, so follow us at Mike Mercado2333. And you would be doing us a huge favor if you would go to Facebook and like the Outreach show at Outreach Radio Chicago. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this journey. It's our third podcast, and on our last one, a very big thank you to the special lady, our special guest, Nicole Mancha, for joining us. We got a lot of good response from her. She gave us some great answers when it came to her thoughts about Suicide Squad and the DCEU, and whether the Olympics are catered towards women. You can go just to the YouTube page, Mike Mercado 2333, subscribe to us, and you can actually see that past episode and some of the other cool things that we are doing, like editorials and top 10 lists and the podcast, along with Outreach Radio Chicago. But to kick things off today, we're going to talk a little bit about a few things that are on my mind today. The Drake and Eminem beef got squashed. They worked us all like wrestling. Speaking of wrestling, it is SummerSlam weekend, so we need to talk SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. But first, I want to talk about some movie conversation that I've been having over the last few days with some friends. And on Collider Nightmares, one of the guys and gals at Collider Video do some awesome work, and I really enjoy watching them and kind of getting an idea of what you really get an idea and a pulse of what's going on in the movie industries and in that world. And on that show, one of the things they talked about was sci-fi and what makes good sci-fi, what makes bad sci-fi, and that was along all the channels of their show, and it got me thinking over the last few days of what does make good sci-fi and whether or not the statement is true, or at least that sentiment that sci-fi is the thinking man's way of broadening the horizon of what they live in their life, like a meta look into their life. And very interesting from there that I kind of started thinking about genre in general. And a lot of people have their own interpretation of what that means. You know, everything is within its own genre. But in this conversation, in this context, genre to me definitely very much is nightmares, thrillers, those weird movies, those you can't quite put your finger on it. And in today's day and age, that's more prevalent because you only have blockbusters or indie films, at least to me, right? If it's not King Kong or the next Avengers movie, it's the next huge Christopher Nolan movie or the huge next Steven Spielberg movie. Martin Scorsese making a huge movie, big budgets. And if not big budgets, big promotional pushes and that next level type of stuff in the movie world. Or you're the independent scene where you're just a very quiet, low-key type of movie and actors do it as passion projects. There's not a lot of money going into it one way or the other, not opening up in massive theaters. And that's the thing. Don't take this as you cannot look at this as a money thing when it comes to box office. Box office is very, in this kind of conversation, clouds things. What I'm strictly talking about is the way a movie feels, how it's produced, the way it's even shipped out to you, not how it's responded by. Because things can become cult followings, and that's not the same as independent. A lot of people confuse the two, that, if it's a cult classic, that means it was a low-key type of movie, and that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of cult classics that were huge in the promotional department, were huge in the marketing department. They just didn't make the movies. Only an X amount of people watched them. Something like a John Wick. It's a big movie. A lot of, you know what? I take that back. John Wick is very much a genre film. Just like The Raid. Just like a lot of these different types of movies, like the one, Don't Breathe, that's coming out. Any type of horror movie, like I can't think of the horror company that makes them. I'll look it up in just a minute. But anything that you could produce for that mid-level, I feel, has become that saving grace, and that's genre. So I really want to know what you guys think about that. I mean, how often do you guys go to the movies? I'm a huge movie buff. I go to the movies probably once a week, if not once every 10 days. I'm at the movie theaters watching some movie. And at least that's how I feel. It's like people feel there's no middle ground anymore. There's no originality in the movie industry, and that's not true. Something like The Nice Guys, nobody went to go see. And that to me is a genre film. It is a buddy cop movie. It is a type of a thriller action. Like a lot of different aspects to it, and that's why it's hard to put your finger on exactly what type of movie that is. And I can't think of a time where there's been such a big gap in between independent movies and big blockbuster movies, but definitely with the shared universes, the superheroes and all the big crossovers that we're trying to make with these movies, I think that's when you've seen it. And it is Blumhouse Productions, who I was thinking of, who make all these horror movies for $15 million, push out another $10 million in promotions and marketing, and boom, they got huge hits. So I'm very interested to see what you guys think. I mean, look at movies like The Purge and Insidious, Paranormal Activity, and then, go ahead and think about anything else in that type of small tier type of movies. What are those? Those are not independent. They're not blockbusters, though. So I feel like the genre film, and maybe we need to find a better way to describe it, but I definitely feel like the genre film has become that middle tier, has become that they're not going to make $1 billion, but they're not also little floppy movies or little financial backing behind these movies. Very interested what you guys think about that. Please let me know in the comment section. Just subscribe to us at Mike Mercado 2333 on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333. Also, we're on Instagram at Mike Mercado 2333. When we come back, the biggest party in the summer, and it wasn't Drake versus Eminem, it's SummerSlam at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn Part 2. Next on the Mercado Podcast.
If you would like more from the show, follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333, subscribe to the YouTube channel at Mike Mercado2333, and listen to Outreach Radio Chicago with Mike Mercado Thursday nights at 10 p.m. on WSBC 1240 a.m. Chicago.
Well, welcome back, guys, and it is time for the biggest party of the summer in the eyes of the WWE, and it is SummerSlam weekend. But this SummerSlam is another special one because we get NXT TakeOver Brooklyn before that, and it is time to make our predictions that probably are going to go wrong, or at the very least make us look a little stupid, but that's okay because that's what wrestling does to most of us. To start off our NXT TakeOver Brooklyn show, we are going to have the debut of Ember Moon versus probably a jobber, and Ember Moon should be interesting. A really cool vignette on NXT. Let's see how the women's division shapes out after what will be their main event later on this show. No Way Jose versus Austin Aries. I don't like No Way Jose. He's okay. I love Austin Aries. I like to think Austin Aries is there for more than just putting over talent. So I'm gonna go No Way Jose though. That looks like how that rivalry is going to go. I hope Austin Aries wins, but I don't think they're going to do that because of another match that's coming up later on the show. We also have The Revival and Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who, by the way, Johnny Gargano is probably going to win the CWC, at least in my opinion. And that match he had with Tommaso Ciampa, phenomenal. Go check it out on the CWC on the WWE Network. Awesome. I think this is a title change. I think Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa win this, and it continues on to eventual split of the team and the heel turn for one of them. Very cool stuff, an awesome tag team, and I can't believe that the Revival have really held down the tag team in the sense they've held the tag team titles for this long. Like that's pretty amazing, but it also shows that the NXT brand has been a little weak before right now. So I'm very interested to see what the ride is for Gargano and Ciampa if they win after this NXT takeover. We also have the debut of Bobby Roode versus Andrade Almas, and poor Almas, he's good. All the videos you see of him on the internet before he got to WWE, he seems like a good worker and a solid matches, but I am a Bobby Roode guy, and it's about time that he made the jump to the WWE. I'm very excited to see what he does, how far he goes in the company, and whether or not it's just an NXT thing, whether or not it's a main roster thing. So in this case, Bobby Roode has to win, which makes me think Austin Aries will lose earlier on in the night. So Bobby Roode will win this one in his debut against Almas. And then the two big main events for the titles. First off, Asuka versus Bayley. Two of the best women workers in the world right now. I think Asuka has to win this because Bayley is making the jump to the main roster sooner rather than later, I would think. And if that's the case, Asuka has to win, and she has to look strong too. Both women have to look strong heading out of this match, but Asuka is going to be the one that's going to carry this women's division over the next maybe year until maybe they do another draft. So it should be very interesting to see how this match plays out. They had a very interesting first match over the WrestleMania weekend. So at this point, Asuka is going to walk in as champion, going to walk out as champion, but Bayley is awesome, and I hope she has one final amazing match with an amazing opponent as in Asuka, and Asuka's able to carry the division moving forward. And in the main event, super hyped, Samoa Joe champion, Shinsuke Nakamura challenger, NXT championship, and it is finally here. The road has led to this moment. Samoa Joe has been an awesome heel since his rivalry with Finn Balor as the NXT champion. Shinsuke Nakamura has been a force in the WWE. They've booked him phenomenally, and the talent and the chemistry oozes out of the man. And this is the night we get that title chain. Nakamura is going to walk out of Brooklyn, the NXT champion. And I don't know about you, but I am super hyped for the potential one day Nakamura versus John Cena Superman fight. That is going to be amazing. That is NXT Brooklyn, which leads into the big event of the weekend, SummerSlam 2016, which is going to open up with Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya, Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss. I like a lot of the women in this match, especially Becky Lynch, Naomi. Natalya has always been solid, and Alexa Bliss, a really, really solid worker, really good on the mic. I really like Alexa Bliss. I think the heels are probably going to win this match to start off SummerSlam, although I would love Becky Lynch, Carmella, and Naomi to win because I think they probably have the better workers. Obviously, Becky Lynch and Natalya are probably on the same level, but definitely I don't think this is a good use of the talents. Why aren't we getting a women's title match for SmackDown, a new title on their second biggest pay-per-view of the year? I don't know. Why are these women delegated to work together opposed to working against each other in a good story? I don't know. But this is what we got. So hopefully they work with what they got. They have enough time. And I still think this is the day they're going to give Eva Marie the win. Ultimately, I think that's what the storyline is leading to. So then we have Cesaro versus Sheamus, the first match in a best-of-7 series that started off as a best-of-3, but nobody told us. And I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what it leads to. This is what upsets me. Fine, they're going to have 7 awesome matches. Awesome. What does it mean? We've seen Sheamus champion. Nobody wants to see it anymore. We want to see Cesaro get the push, but are they going to give him the Universal Championship? Come on. I don't get it. I mean, I love the fact that we're going to see 2 phenomenal workers, probably one of the best workers in the world in Cesaro, a very good worker in Sheamus. They're going to tell us really good stories in the ring, but we've already seen it 4 times, now another 7 times, and it's just starting at SummerSlam. I think this is really weird storytelling. I don't know where it adds up. Does it mean Cesaro's going to go to SmackDown if he loses this? I don't know, but I don't see it paying off. It's my big problem with it. The first title match of the night will probably be the Intercontinental Championship match between The Miz and Apollo Crews. The Miz has carried this rivalry. Apollo Crews is amazing talent in the ring. Doesn't have much of a personality right now in his career, but I still think Crews is going to win the title tonight, at least that night. And they're going to try to make the title make him, and it never works that way. But I still see WWE loving his smile, loving his athleticism, and just putting the gold on him, and Miz chase for 1 month and get it right back, because everybody knows, as love him or hate him, the Miz is an amazing heel and an amazing champion to go after. So I have Apollo Crews winning that match. Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, the internet's main event, and my main event in my heart. As much as I would love to see Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens win this and then eventually go on to become tag team champions, I think Enzo and Cass are the future of the division, of the company. They're 2 of the faces that they're going to build around. So Enzo and Big Cass will win this one. We'll get that big victory that they've been needing since they never really got it when Enzo got hurt at the Payback pay-per-view that I was at, and that injury was nasty when he got that concussion. So I think Enzo and Cass win this. I hope Jericho and Owens stick around for a little bit, because I would love to see how much more they could do this routine of the straight man and the funny man. It was really good stuff. Then we have the Tag Team Championship match between the New Day and Gallows and Anderson. you have to think this is the night the New Day loses the title. I love the New Day. I really, really do. But you don't bring in a big-time name tag team like Gallows and Anderson and don't give them the titles eventually. And they've already, WWE doing their own history, quote-unquote, have already given New Day the title of longest reigning WWE tag team champions. So you could take the titles away and give it to them again after they've chastened, they've won it at Survivor Series or WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or whatever pay-per-view you decide you want to give it to, or whatever stupid Backlash or Night of Champions or Clash of Champions, whatever the hell you're calling it, with these stupid brand split pay-per-views. Anyway, regardless, you would think it's going to be just as entertaining seeing them chase them. Or maybe it means they're breaking them up. I don't know. I have no idea. Total speculation, but I still believe Gallows and Anderson will walk out of SummerSlam, your tag team champions. Then we have the WWE Women's Championship match between Sasha Banks and Charlotte. Some will say Charlotte's been the best diva coming up in this whole revolution. Best women's wrestler in this whole women's wrestling revolution. And I would agree, she's carried the division. Sasha Banks has started to catch up, but was not that great for a little while. Was pretty held down, whether it was writing, whether it was her own thing, whether it was just in the division in general wasn't ready to hit that level. I think now we're going to start seeing them hit their stride. And I'll be honest with you, I think Charlotte's going to walk out women's champion. Because as long as she's the heel and Sasha is the face, that dynamic doesn't work going the other way around. If Charlotte she's the superior one, she's the bigger one, she's the original, she's the one chasing the title, it doesn't work that way. Now, if Sasha was a heel and she had somebody like Nia Jax to back her up, well, now we're talking about a little different storytelling. Now it's a little bit of a different angle towards it. But all things being the way they are right now, I think Charlotte walks out. And I think Sasha chases again. Because I don't see who Sasha could run through in the division other than Nia Jax. So that take that for what it is. I think that Charlotte walks out of SummerSlam Women's Champion. In the U.S. Championship match of Rusev versus Roman Reigns, I think after the stupidity that was Monday Night Raw of giving us that match and a clean ending, makes it very clear that Rusev walks out champion. I don't even want to talk about it. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. John Cena versus AJ Styles. AJ needs to win this. Never go against John Cena. John Cena wins this and then walks away. He's going to go on vacation after burying AJ Styles. Yeah, that's going to happen. In the WWE World Championship match between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, arguably the most entertaining storyline in the WWE right now, especially after this last SmackDown of that heated promo and then Dolph Ziggler super kicking Dean Ambrose out of nowhere right after the week before Dean Ambrose DDTing Dolph Ziggler. This is an amazing rivalry. It's going to be a phenomenal match. Dean Ambrose is going to retain his title. In the first ever WWE Universal Championship match, it is Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. And what was one of the most intriguing parts about this match, the first debut of the Demon Finn Balor again was blown on Monday Night Raw, the go-home edition, for no reason. I want to tell you Finn Balor is going to win this because he's coming up and he needs the win. He's the new guy. He's the fresh face. Seth Rollins is an awesome champion. He's an awesome heel. To have, I'm the number one overall pick. I'm the first Shield member to win the title. And I'm the WWE Universal Champion, the first ever. I think Seth Rollins walks out the first ever Universal Champion on SummerSlam. Now, in what has been a big argument of what's the main event, it looks pretty clear. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. There's going to be one RKO that Lesnar's going to kick out of. And Lesnar is going to beat the hell out of Randy Orton. And that's going to be the end of your SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar walking out after beating Randy Orton. And those are my predictions for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2, along with SummerSlam 2016. What do you guys agree with? What do you guys disagree with? What is the most anticipated match you guys are looking forward to? I cannot wait for Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler, along with the Universal Championship match. And of course, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend in the WWE. What do you guys think? Let me know on Twitter at mmercado2333. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to me at MikeMercado2333. And also follow me on Instagram at MikeMercado2333. All right, guys, before we head out of here, I also want to give out one quick prediction for UFC 202, McGregor versus Diaz 2. Conor McGregor, for any wrestling fan out there, I'm a huge MMA fan, but any wrestling fan out there who's never seen him in the UFC, first got exposed to him after he went on Twitter, basically said that he was slap, silly, all the wrestlers there, completely working the internet, along with Eminem and Drake, who in a Detroit concert, Eminem rose underneath the stage to the top of the stage and started rapping with Drake, and Drake called him the best rapper of all time. So there's a lot of work. People are working everybody on the internet. So in this case, UFC 202, I would love for Nate Diaz to beat Conor McGregor. I would love it simply for the fact that it would just mess up everything the UFC has tried working, that Conor McGregor has said. It just changes the aspect of the sport. And also maybe it brings Conor McGregor to the WWE. But Nate Diaz, I don't think will beat him this time. And I have a feeling we have a part 3 coming up. So I'm going to go McGregor with the hopes that I'm wrong and that Nate Diaz pulls off this victory. And also, unfortunately, we don't get to see Eminem destroy Drake in a rap battle because, according to Drake, he's the greatest rapper of all time. And I don't think a lot of people would disagree with him. But that'll do it for us today, guys, on this podcast. Thank you so much for following us, for listening to us, for supporting us. It is awesome to know that I have the support of so many of you awesome people. So thank you so much. Follow us everywhere in the universe. We're on Twitter at mmercado2333. We're on Instagram at MikeMercado2333. Do me a huge favor, guys. Go to the YouTube page and subscribe to me at MikeMercado2333. And also go to Facebook and like the Outreach show at Outreach Radio Chicago. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time on the Mercado Podcast.
If you would like more from the show, follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at MikeMercado2333. And listen to Outreach Radio Chicago with Mike Mercado Thursday nights at 10 p.m. on WSBC 1240 AM Chicago.